Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katelyn from Florals.com, and today I am with Sarah Scraps for our summer scrapping series. We hope that you'll join us. We have our prompts over on Instagram. If you have not seen those yet, definitely check them out. But we will be scrapbooking so many fun summary pages for you all summer long, so make sure after you watch this video to head over to Sarah's channel, which I will have linked down below. But today we are tackling a Disney page because there is nothing that screams more fun and more summer than a theme park, whether it's your local one or a road trip to a larger one. There's a lot of fun to be had. So I have these Animal Kingdom photos that I absolutely adore of the Tree of Life, which, if you don't know, is not a real tree, but it is a beautiful art piece, and it is got several carvings of hundreds of animals into it, and it is absolutely beautiful. But I wanted to do this beautiful layering behind it with all these scraps I had from the Sun Chaser paper pad, that 12 by 12 from DCWV that I have adored. I think that is going to be one of the paper pads I finish, hopefully this year, but if we're being really optimistic and realistic, it'd probably be in the next 3 years. But I do love this paper pad very, very much. And as you can see on the left-hand side there, I do have a ton of embellishments pulled out, but I do want to bring in a little bit of texture and dimension with a doily first. So I'm going to sift through. The blues weren't really working with the papers that I'd already pulled out. And some tips for layering when you have 4x6 photos, or if you have just multi-photos in general, is just layer them so none of the edges line up. That's one of my biggest tips, and one that you'll find can work really, really well for you when you're working on your projects. Is just make sure the edges are not aligned. You want to have that disjointed look for that collage experience. So here I'm debating if I want to add any more papers, but like I said, the Sun Chaser collection from DCWV has been a fan favorite. And as you can tell kind of in the background, I actually have a foiled background that I've chosen, but it's not really showing up well on camera. But what's nice is it has accents of green in it, so I get to use this bright green cardstock that I have in my stash as a layering piece, which I don't get to use nearly as often as I'd like because it is so bright, but it works well on this layout. And although most people probably would not mat these on green because there's so much green in the photo, because there's also the blue and the brown neutrals, the green still really, really works. I decided that I do want to ink the edges of all my layers here, so I go for this distress ink. What I like to do with my distress inks, obviously I have my blender tool here to add a little bit of dimension, but the reason you do this is mainly for the contrast on the edge. It's not necessarily the color. In this case, I'm using a blue because I have so many blues, but a black could work well, a brown could work well, even grays, something just to add contrast between the layers so they pop a bit more. Now, if you're doing a layering piece like I am with a lot of scraps, with a lot of elements, it doesn't necessarily have to be paper, but if you like the way it looks before you pick it up to put glue behind it, make sure you take a photo. That's something I always struggle with when I'm attempting to put something back together that I originally liked the look of. For embellishing, I did pull out some Pink Fresh Studio elements here. I have them in this little bucket. And what I really liked about this particular set is that there's a lot of plant pieces and a lot of labels that I can choose from. And I just love Pink Fresh Studio labels. Here I have the sticker set out as well, just in case. But I really, really liked that as my title there, the So Happy We're Here, which again, from Pink Fresh Studio. And I'll try to have any of these products that are still available, although they're quite a bit older, in the description box down below if anyone's interested in checking them out. But if you are interested in getting more videos and perhaps videos early access, this one's not, but I do have other examples that are, definitely check out my Patreon. I'll have it linked down below if you're interested. And I have a lot of fun over there with my patrons, and you won't want to miss out. So as we're putting these layers back together, you can see it has actually changed from what it originally was. But generally, those background strips there that I've adhered are in an L shape, which is one of my favorite designs to do. But if you have not done an L shape before, it is quite simple. You just lay your paper in the shape of an L, in this case scraps, but you can also cut your pattern paper to be that way, layer your photos to be that way, have an embellishment cluster lay that way. The list goes on and on. You'll also notice that the scraps I adhered in the background actually have the hole at the top for the paper pad, and that's something I also like to do to get a little bit more bang for my buck from paper pads in general, whether 6x6, 6x8, or 12x12, is to leave that edge on there if there's no perforation, because you'll get an extra quarter to half an inch of pattern paper as long as you can just cover that hole. In this case, I did with photos. What I end up doing is also adding a little bit of foam underneath my title because I just wanted a little bit more dimension between that and how close it was to the navy background. I sneak in a teeny tiny bit of washi tape. Again, lime green, not my favorite green, but I do love using it for layouts when it works. And it's just like a simple geometric pattern. And then we get into the fun part, which is layering. Originally, I thought I was going to end up using those pieces from Pink Fresh Studio, but then I recall I have these cut files that were gifted to me from my friend Jody a while back that I haven't been able to use them all, and they of course are equally lime green. Now they're not the exact same lime green as the layer behind my photos, and that's okay. These ones are more of the yellow lime green, but it still works out really, really well because there are so many greens in the photo and the layers. And that's something you got to keep in mind. Nothing has to be super matchy-matchy if you don't want it to be. So I'm sifting through to find the correct sizing for these elements. I want some on the right hand side, some on the left hand side, and also I want to make sure that I have the lime green feel a little bit more even. I don't want it to overwhelm. I just want it to look good so that the tree and the photos themselves are not overwhelmed, but I'm also wanting to frame those with these pieces. And each of those actually has a little bit of pattern to it. Like it's almost like a check sort of pattern. Here's where I'm unhappy with how that photo is laying, so I managed to squeeze it up a little bit more. Despite it being under the title, I did manage to scooch it up a little bit more so it had a flatter base. Although I do love when a photo is a little bit crooked, this one I really wanted to swap out. So I end up putting some adhesive on the back of these. Now some of these are pairs, some of them are single cuts, but either way I think it works really, really well in the end to have those all layered. And these ones are a little bit too intricate for what I like to do with my typical pieces of leaves or florals, and that's to add some foam adhesive under select leaves to give it a lot more dimension. But like I said, these ones were very thin and delicate, and I did not want to mess it up by ripping them with putting foam on the back of them. So I'm going to move forward with some more of the embellishing. I have these really old Sticko stickers that have these cute little leaves on them. Perfect again color-wise, but I really wanted to try to use some of them again to add dimension. Since we only have the So Happy We're Here title piece on foam, I'm looking to see how else we can add some dimension. And as I sift through my stash, you'll see I addition a lot of pieces here. I do end up finding that the phrase sticker and the label stickers that I had pulled out originally for this page work out really well. But I do want like a secondary title. So here I'm going to use these Freckled Fawn. Really, really love this sort of like handwritten type of font almost. And I spell out Tree of Life. And spacing with tile letters is not my strong suit, but I like to use my adhesive to help me. And that's nice about these is I do not necessarily need adhesive on the back, but it's really helpful when it comes to these because you can kind of slide it around if it's on a liquid adhesive versus not a liquid adhesive. Another thing I like to do, especially when I have stacked photos, is to add in something over that stack line. So in this example, I just put that phrase sticker, but I also have the title kind of covering that stack line, which really, really helps to make sure that they understand it's two different photos, especially when it's a similar subject like this and they both have slightly green backgrounds where they're touching. Just a little important note in case you have that issue on your pages. And of course, I look to add wood veneer because it's a natural style page. I'm looking to see if there's any more washi tape I want to add. But I really, really like wood veneer on natural style pages. It is the easiest way to get a natural feel without a lot of thought process behind it, especially when there's so many different types of wood veneer icons. Hearts example like these work really, really well. I could have done more leaves, more birds, something like that would have worked really, really well. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes I do like florals and things on my pages as like small icons. This time I went for the plus signs from these Feed Your Craft Puffy stickers. These are like a navy color. It's hard to kind of tell, but they are perfect to add, again, more dimension and that depth that I want for a darker contrast color like we did with the ink earlier. So here I'm adding a couple more little bits and bobs. The little leaves from that Sticko set are so adorable. I do wish I could have used the animals, obviously, but they're not the exact vibe that we're going for. That's very cutesy. I have these Heidi Swap stickers. I love a clear sticker to help add dimension, some arrows, and a postage stamp, which works really well, again, for these kind of travel pages. Postage stamps always make sense because of postcards. Works out really, really well. So I get those into place, and then the final touch, of course, is going to be Nuvo drops. But I hope you guys have been enjoying this video and this process. If you have not checked out Sarah's yet, I'll have her process linked down below so you guys can get some more summer inspiration. I'll also have our prompt list at the end of this video if you guys have missed it over on Instagram. But thank you guys for watching. I love adding some Nuvo drops here at the end to make them look almost like elements within the leaves. And again, the white even adds some contrast on the lighter side, which is super fun. But I really, really love how this layout came out. It's fun and so summery. So I hope you guys enjoyed it just like I did making it. But I'm happy to be back here on YouTube, and I hope you guys are excited to have me back for this summer series. And let me know if there's anything specific you guys want to see me scrap throughout this whole series with Sarah. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.